Mitch and I, we were at the national camp at the start of the year, and I was like, one of the only things I haven't done, one of the things I want to do is I want to win an international medal at a karate league competition. And I think talking about it made it feel a little bit more real.
We sometimes like to downplay achievements and make excuses as why things weren't meant to be as big as they are, but this is a seriously big achievement and something that we need to make sure that we hold on to it for as long as we can.
Across the divisions, there were 6 athletes that had their run ended by a semi-finalist and didn't get repechage.
I did take my focus away from winning. I didn't want to just go, I want to win a medal, that's why I'm doing karate. I just went, okay, I just want to get better and see where that takes me. I'm not worried about the medal. It doesn't actually bring me happiness. It's actually just getting better at karate.
Welcome back to the Kaizen Culture Pod, where we are keeping the conversation moving within Australian karate. My name is Mitchell Durham, here as always with Nathan Blockley. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, whether it be on Apple or Spotify, and we're also watchable on YouTube. So please make sure you jump over there to give us a watch, and also the WKF YouTube channel for the World Karate Cast as well for all of the international event updates. Please give the podcast a rating if you're enjoying the content, because we're loving bringing it to you. And this is a very special one today, Nathan. We're talking about the Series A in Malaysia that's just happened.
And we had some incredible performances, but the standout, we had a bronze medal at a Series A, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, it's about bloody time we've had a result. It's so good. All the athletes looked like they were pushing, but this was a special one. First day, the Friday, Daniel goes out there and sets the tone very, very high. So I'm very excited to talk about that, and we have him on today, which is going to be a great conversation to have with him. Just talking about the process, talking about the whole competition, and then also just the art of persistence as well. You know, he's one of the oldest members in the team. I'd say probably the oldest, I reckon. He's like 35, I think.
Yep.
Something like that.
So, yeah,
but
35.
Yeah, it's all jokes aside, competing at that level at this later stage in your career, it's like this should be the peak. We've talked about this for so long.
Yeah.
But like it's often viewed as not, you know, and yeah, I think it's an amazing achievement, and the vibes was just so high.
Yeah,
Good.
he's definitely one of the more experienced athletes on the Oz team at the moment, and he is 28 years young. He just had his birthday recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, 28 is the peak age, and we see a drop-off of athletes before Daniel right now, and he's at his peak of his career. First medal that he's had at senior level, so it's incredible to see, as you said, that persistence, and we need more of it in karate.
Yeah. No, and you were there on like the closest out of everyone.
Yeah.
How was it? How did it feel?
I was just, it's hard separating myself as a photographer to, you know, a good friend of the person on the mat for anyone. And there were 31 Aussies at this competition, and I felt it with all 31. It'd be tough being a coach, like on the line and having that emotional investment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's seeing Daniel just go through the rounds, feeling gutted after he lost the quarterfinals against Turkey by decision, which was I'm not a referee, but I disagreed with a few results and few ways things went during the tournament. That was a big one. That decision, it was like, it made no sense to me.
Yeah.
So I was gutted for him for that, but then he got repechage, fortunately, and the result was the bronze medal. So yeah, it was great being there ringside with him.
Yeah, it was wicked seeing yourself and Celeste there rolling around, and you guys always looked like you were having a great time, just smiling and didn't look tired. But was it a tiring event?
No, honestly, it wasn't. No, yeah. we had we captured all the Aussie athletes. We had a couple of New Zealand athletes as well that we were covering, which is fantastic. And yeah, it was just because they do it event by event, and there's only 1, 2, 3 athletes per event. It's quite tamed. So yeah, compared to what we've done in the past with honestly, Nationals is the most tiring event there is. The Premier Leagues have been a walk in the park compared to Nationals and Oz Open.
That's crazy.
Just in terms of capacity. So yeah, it was just a super enjoyable tournament to be at.
Very nice. Well, we had 31 athletes, as you said. We also had 3 referees. They were Dominic Scully, Alison Peachy, and Nia Tran. Good to see Nia Tran back on the circuit again.
It is, yep.
So important having Aussie refs on there.
It is, and we got a little bit of the talk that happens behind the scenes in referees, and there was a lot of them pushing the fact that we're not just a write-off country, and that you need to consider us when it comes to decisions and all this sort of stuff. Like it's unfortunate. Like all referees are human. Unfortunately, there is some bias sometimes in these events. So having representation as a country in referees is so important for a tournament.
It just allows the question to be asked, like, oh, why did you make that decision? Or what's your thought process behind that? And if there's no one sort of not in your corner, but it's just giving you representation, I guess, which is, we need it across all fronts. And another one that we had was the coaches as well.
Yeah.
10 coaches.
That's incredible, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was insane. So we had the Australian coaches, Head Carter and Kumite, Noriko, Mickey and Mark Golding, which is great, and Robin Choi, Con Papanikolaou, the senior division. Marco Mazzanti, who's the coaching commission, coaching chair.
Yep, chair of the National Coaches Commission.
That's the one.
Yep.
Great. We had Darren Olsom and Liam Worthington, which is for the IPP division. Literally, how great is that representation there?
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And it's it wasn't even a Karate Australia organised tour. It was just that all of these coaches saw a lot of value in being there for the athletes that competed at this event. So they all, took it upon themselves to represent. I'm not sure if there was a bit of funding involved, but generally across the coaches, they were all there because of the athletes and not because they had to be.
Well, the focus from the senior world team, or a lot of the senior coaches, was like, this is a great stepping stone leading into the World Championships.
Yep.
And so the senior coaches, Mark Golding, Robin Choi, Con, were focused on sort of helping out those senior world's athletes and really focusing on what they wanted for the weekend. But obviously they were there for pretty much everyone, as were the state coaches who were there, Mizan Dickinson, Owen Blockley and Bridget Wall, which is fantastic.
And I saw all of them in the chair, and it's fantastic for those to get that experience. And I know Karate Australia has made it available for state coaches to join official tours. This wasn't an official tour again, but join official tours. We saw that with the IPP tour over in Europe. Liz Marler attended that tour as a state coach. So it's great to see state coaches being involved in these competitions because it's so important for development. It's not just you get finally appointed this position as a national coach and then all of a sudden you need to perform on this stage. This experience is vital for them.
Yeah, it's so good getting that access. And did you get a chance to chat to Dad about it?
I mean, it was nothing new for him. It wasn't the first series. I mean, he coached us at Premier League back in 2017. So it's not the first time he's been on this stage. He feels quite comfortable and confident in any competition scenario. I'm going to say that maybe it's a bit easier as a kata coach as well to just... I feel like the responsibility is a little bit less, but he feels fully confident in that space. So, loved it.
So good. And it was awesome just knowing as an athlete that there was just so many coaches there to choose from. You had like, it was actually too much choice. I think at the start on the Thursday, we were like, all right, so what are we doing for the coaching situation? Do we pick this one? Do we pick this one? What do we do? It's like, it's nice to have that support just subconsciously. I think that's really, really important. Just wanting to say a big shout out to the New Zealand athletes as well, 11 of them who attended. And I'm pretty sure Andrea was the coach, which is crazy. She coached Kumite, which is awesome to see. But specifically Juliet McLaughlin in the minus 68 kilogram division ended up with 7th overall.
Yeah, she lost in the quarterfinal to a Premier League medalist from Germany. She was up on points. It was actually I thought the reffing was a little bit stiff. I thought she definitely had the capability to win that fight and go through the semi-finals. Yeah. But unfortunately didn't make it quite that far, but 7th is an incredible effort. Yeah. And then there were also 4 New Zealand referees as well that attended. So in total from Oceania, we actually had 2 Newcow. Two Newcow athletes and 1 Newcow coach. So between it, really quick math, right? You had 44 athletes, athletes from Oceania. You had 12 coaches, 12 coaches, and you had 7 referees from Oceania.
I'm so glad that you're on the maths. You're the maths guy for this because just my brain is just mush.
That's 63 people from Oceania at a tournament, which is insane.
Very good. Now, this is a pretty cool statistic that you came up with, and I'm going to let you run with it because it's a great one.
Yes, yeah. There was you mentioned it during the tournament. I think after you found out that you weren't going to get repechage.
Well, it's just a classic. It's like my career summed up into a nutshell, really.
It is, but this was a real curse for Australia,
Yep.
unfortunately. Across the divisions, there were 6 athletes that had their run ended by a semi-finalist and didn't get repechage. So that is you lost to a very talented Iranian who's, I don't know where he's ranked, but he's definitely up there on amazing country as well, obviously. Ended up getting bronze, and he lost in the semi-finals, which meant you didn't get repechage. You didn't have that chance to fight for bronze. Same thing could have happened to Daniel. Like Daniel's guy who he lost to in the semi-final in the quarterfinal, could have lost in the semi-final, and then Daniel wouldn't have had the chance to get bronze. So I think that's really important to highlight, that there were 6 Aussies who were denied repechage. That's potentially 6 bronze medals or chances, you know. And then on a follow-up from that, another statistic, there were 5 additional Aussies that lost to a 3rd or a 5th place. So they didn't quite make those people that they lost to didn't quite make semi-finals, but they still got 3rd or 5th. So you've got 11 Aussies, plus Daniel who got 3rd, who ended up, who were in and amongst it, you know. So in terms of level of tournament, like, this is exactly the level that we are at as a nation, which is great to see and great to affirm as well.
Absolutely. The potential's there, and I think the more that we do it, the more the athletes will realise that, all right, it's very possible to medal at these events and to push and go deep.
Yeah, and sorry, not to mention as well that this was open to the top 32 athletes in the world. So this is hard. This is technically harder than a average Series A tournament.
Absolutely. I reckon we get straight into bringing Daniel Tielen onto the episode. I'm so keen to get his thoughts on the whole tournament and to pick his brain about that bronze medal match. All right, we'll bring him in now. All right, we're bringing onto the podcast Mr. Daniel Tielen, 13 years in the national team, 17 years in the state team from the Shukakai club in Melbourne under Sensei Ennio. Decorated career, 6-time Oceania champion, 5-time world championship representative, a Karate One Youth Cup bronze medalist in 2012. 13 years later, now a Series A bronze medalist. This is an amazing run sheet through your whole career, Daniel, but the plus 84 kilogram representative, the heavyweight of the division, and a significant figure within Australian karate. It is a pleasure to have you on today, especially after your achievement last week. How you going, Daniel?
I'm going really well. Thanks so much for having me. When you read it out like that, it does show how long I've been around for. When you say 13 years just in the national team, and then my first nationals in 2008, feels like some people weren't even born who are in the national team now. So it does line up as a long career, but just really happy to be here and fresh off that Malaysia competition as well.
It's a good birthday present for you as well. Your birthday was just 2 days after the event, or was it the Monday? So it's a pretty good present to get for yourself, I think.
Yeah, I got to say I was the same age as Mitch, which was 27 for a 6 months of the year. And then I have my birthday and have to go to 28 and be one of the older, get called the oldest by Mitch regularly. So it's a sour day, if I'm going to be honest, because then now I'm a year older than Mitch and one of the older ones still.
Hey, watch out, mate. You're the same age as me now. And it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm retired, so.
How was it coming back into the swing of things to work? Like, did you show the medal around to the office, or did the kids get to see it?
No, I did come straight back, landed on the Monday, and then went back to work on the Tuesday. And I did show the kids the medal. Obviously, I'm a school teacher. That's my class. They think I'm famous. Like, they saw a few photos and they thought I was pretty famous. But no, they had a look at the medal, a bit of show and tell by the teacher, which is a bit unusual, but celebrate your successes, I think.
We have to, and it's something that we don't often do, and we're not really the best at it, and we sometimes like to downplay achievements and things like that and make excuses as why things weren't meant to be as big as they are. But this is a seriously big achievement and something that we need to make sure that we grab onto and hold onto it for as long as we can, because, you know, as we know, they don't come very often. And when they do, we tend to push them to the side, which is like, no way, we got to celebrate this for a long time. So I'm super proud of you just to witness it as a friend, and just knowing how hard you work, how you manage your life. It's just, I think it's a massive credit to the person that you are. So yeah, congratulations, Daniel. It's huge.
Congratulations.
What was it like having a big group there? Because often we travel and it's usually just yourself or a couple of other Aussies and maybe one coach if you're lucky. But what was it like having almost a support crew of like 50 people there in the stands?
I think it made a huge difference. I think for a couple of reasons. Before the competition, just Mitch, myself, and Rory got there a day before a lot of the team. You had someone to go to a gym with, bounce around. It was only 25 minutes of like moving the legs around, but there's those support bases that I wouldn't have had if I'm traveling around Europe. I went to Paris and I was lucky to have Max, but there's competitions where you get there and there's no one else there, and it can really throw you off. So the big team is so helpful. I also think, and a big part is the noise from the Australian athletes when another Australian is fighting. That buzzer system, you can't see the flags come out, but the noise, I reckon, played in our favour a couple of times, and we need those little advantages because they were really loud and celebrating every punch that was on target. I'm very thankful. It was an amazing support. Every person I've spoken to has mentioned how loud the Australians are in the crowd. So the before comp, but at the comp is just so amazing to see.
No, great. And it's something that we haven't seen in a while at a Karate One event. And we're fortunate enough to have a Philippines Youth League next year, and I hope that it's going to be very similar. But yeah, the energy in the stadium around Australia was incredible, and it's something that we need to see far more of. But
Yep.
yeah, and it translated because we had some amazing performances.
Yeah, so not only with your bronze medal, Daniel, but we had Rory come away with the 7th place. Sophia Dew with the seventh place as well. Trevor Khan, 11th. And Jelena Kalajic with an 11th. It's fantastic to see the numbers on the board for the performances. But aside from the places themselves, we had athletes who performed extremely well but just didn't get, like you said, that chance to compete for that placing. But you could just see the energy. I reckon the energy really helps convert to some results.
No, 100%. I'd love to start off with Harrison Knight in male kata, the second division of the day. I believe female kata was first. Second division of the day, and won 3 rounds in male kata, which is astonishing. And I'm sure it's coming off the back of the confidence that the gold medal in the Philippines a month prior gave him. Seeing him go out there, I remember like after he won 2 and then he was versus, I can't remember what country he was from, but the decision came up on the scoreboard and he won by 0.1 and he was just like, he threw his head back and it was so much joy and it was great to see.
I actually think he should have beaten China the next round. It was ridiculous.
I completely agree. Again, not a referee.
However, and definitely not biased.
Definitely not biased towards Australians. No, but yeah, he lost he won that fight, his 3rd round against a 6-time Youth League medalist from Italy, very strong country in kata, and then just missed out against China, scored above 40, which is an incredible effort in male kata at a Karate One event. It was great to see him perform on the big stage.
Fantastic. Talking about Rory Attridge before, Daniel, what was it like seeing him go through the rounds? Because he hasn't had the best of luck on the international stage. So it's personally to see him get the reward for his effort, for everyone, but for just to speak on Rory's achievements, he had a great show out on that day.
Yeah, I think everyone in Australia who's fought Rory would say how good Rory is. Actually, standing in front of Rory is a scary sight. He's quite strong, and in the clinch, even I'm like, I can't get taken down as a heavyweight. He has that power and that ability. He doesn't make many mistakes, and he shows that he has the ability to score those ippons as well. He was so strong, taking people down. I thought he was going to go all the way. I was losing my voice cheering for him. He was looking so strong, and I think it's a little bit overdue, his performance at this Series A, and I think there's more to come for him as well. Like, he's genuinely fast, strong. He has all the attributes to do really well at the upcoming World Championships. I'm pumped to see him.
Yeah, I think 7th place wasn't enough to represent how well he did at this tournament. I think he deserves the world, and I think he deserves more than that. But I'm sure he has some amazing takeaways from this tournament. I'll go through some quick stats. He got through to the quarterfinal after scoring 24 points in his first 3 wins. So they were just dominating, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, he was dropping people left, right, and centre. It was great to see. I don't know how many ippons. I'd love that statistic, but none of them were head kicks. They were all just dropping people and scoring. It was fantastic to see. Lost to the gold medalist in a tight 1-4 quarterfinal.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was
not. I'm going to call it right now. That was stupid.
It was stupid, and especially like I'm there and I'm catching it on photo and I'm looking back. As soon as something happens, like a decision goes which way and I like disagree with it, I'll check and I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah.
But, they're only human. It's the way things are called. But yeah, got the first point on the neutral athlete in the quarterfinal and then went in for an exchange, super long jab. I thought it got there. The photo says it got there, but it got countered with a Chudam body wash.
Was it a side kick?
Yeah, side kick as he came in. But I've
the
got a
side
picture with
kick-
his fist in the face.
Hit the side kick, like Rory has so much power coming forward, right? And the guy steps back and does a side kick, scores it, but he's propelled backwards.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we move on.
Yeah, and then also got hard done by in the fight to get into the bronze medal final against Kazakhstan, who ended up getting third. Did very well. Some of the points I didn't love, but he scored 30 points. Was it? Yeah, 30. Where is it?
Yeah,
30 points across his 5 fights, which is amazing to see at Karate 1 level. And it's included in the top 32. He's going to feel really good going into World Championships at the end of the year.
Sophia Du had her first performance at a Series A event and had a tough few rounds and eventually losing to the grand winner, Valentina Toro from Chile. That's huge.
Yeah, a little bit of insight. Didn't know who she was up against.
No way.
Yeah, lined up against Valentina Toro, and she said she had no idea who this girl was. It was just a person from Chile.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but grand winner, obviously, topped the Premier League stage. I think it was not the one just been, but the one prior to that. Amazing athlete. She ended up winning the event.
Yep.
Sophia got repechage and won 2 bouts in repechage. So she won a total of 3. She lost to the eventual bronze medalist from China and, achieves 325 points for her ranking at 20 years old.
That's crazy. I'm excited to see her her rise and her development. She's a great athlete. She trains with Miyagi-Kan, with Richie and Yonatan. So that was awesome. It's good to see Yoni get through a few rounds as well. There's a couple of athletes that got through 2 rounds.
Yep.
Yonatan Freund, Celia Tran, Max Noble, and Declan Squire. Tough one for Declan Squire because you were, cheering for him all the way. And then, the athlete that beat him, I think was named Naveen.
It was, from India. Ended up getting third.
Yeah. So we're just like cheering for all the countries. Is that allowed? Like someone said to us, like when we were cheering for your Turkish boy, Daniel, we were just like, come on, Turkey, like, please. And I think he was enjoying us cheering for him. But I think someone said like, oh, we can't cheer for another country. And I'm like, yes, we can.
Yeah, why not?
I'm cheering for another country, but really I'm cheering for our own country.
Yeah,
like,
you've got a purpose.
It's a byproduct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, Declan did get hard done by. Who knows if it would have made a difference to the decision? But remember the screens cut out halfway through his fight, and he ended up standing around for about 10 minutes between, like in the middle of his fight.
No, that makes a big difference.
So it's who knows what would have happened if that didn't. I felt like he had the momentum at that time, but after that, then there was a bit of flurry of points for India. So.
No, it's a great little recap. Obviously, everyone did an amazing job. Like just to be out there and to fight and represent the country and fight with the values that we all, embody. It's great to see. But we're going to talk about the thing that we really want to talk about right now. Daniel, just take us through what this whole process was like. From probably the approach was the same for every fight, but going through the next win, I'm going to leave it to you to just explain how it felt going through it all.
So I think you go to a Series A and you have 70 or more people in your division and you're in the they took us through like 3 warm-up areas and we lined up like 7 times the day one, and they don't really have their systems in place. But you're in that warm-up area and everyone looks like a world champion. And then you fight 2 fights and then there's no one left. And I think that's a big message for those that are going to travel soon, is that it gets halved every time. So like I won 2 rounds and we're now only 16 people left across 4 mats. The warm-up area is empty. So there was a bit of that. I've done it before and I've been to a couple of Series A and I know that it will get cut down. So warming up, there was still that like, I can't get any room in here. It feels like a lot, but the more and more you go through, you build confidence. You're seeing the warm-up area get smaller and smaller, and you just, I don't know, you feel like you're going to go all the way as soon as you get through a couple of rounds. So yeah, I think it's a big confidence thing that maybe we don't get as much because we don't get to travel around Europe to those big competitions. And
you look like it, Daniel. You're after your first fight, you were dominant against Spain. You won 3-1. That was, a great first, as you said, just a first match to get out of the way and then see the road ahead of you and have full-on belief. You're like, I got through one, I can do the rest, and you looked like it.
Yeah, he was quite good. There's young Spanish boy who just done well at the recent youth league. And again, in the warm-up area, was throwing these like hook kicks, and I was like, oh, he's going to wrap around my head. And then you get out there and it's not really present. Like I think, you build it up in the warm-up area, and then you get out there and it's all just happens however you want it to happen.
Huge. Then squaring up against India the second round, I can't remember who was the person that India fought. I think it was maybe Singapore. I think, and then Singapore was winning, and we're like, oh well, this is just, it was meant to go that way. And then all of a sudden, like India comes away with like a massive win. And I reckon I saw your face when you rolled out. You were like, oh, versus India second round. Like, what was that going into the second round against India?
Yeah, I think India's got a little bit of like a bad name.
Absolutely.
That they're not as strong as a country, but I think we saw it this Series A, especially with the boy Declan fought, but also there was a few other showings where they're not the India of 2015 when there were not as many athletes. There was only 4 or 5 athletes traveling. Now they've got a huge team. And yeah, he did well to win his round. It was they were the only country that was probably not as loud as Australia, but they were quite loud as well. So you could hear them yelling and coaching. But yeah, that was a good second round. And then after that, you feel like you've gotten going and you're ready to move on. That
Turkish fight was very, very emotional. I think the ups and downs through that. Just take us through that whole fight and what it was like. Because we're all yelling at you. Obviously Mark's yelling at you, and things are twisting and turning throughout that fight. But just take us through that one there.
Yeah. Mark was really good in this fight. He'd been, once you started to go through the rounds, he's out there watching who you're fighting. So we had a really good game plan going in, and we're able to follow it pretty well. I got to 3-2 with about 25 seconds to go, and then kind of they're very experienced athletes. He's young, but he's traveled a lot and he's fought a lot. And I just made a couple of mistakes. I probably engaged at the wrong time. Got it to 3-3 and then got a grabbing. But I was happy with the showing, but more disappointed in myself that I get a grabbing with 7 seconds to go, lose my senchu. I felt like my body punch was rocking for the first time. I used to be the guy who's like, body punch is dead, don't throw it. Jabs all the way, they're the way to go. And I could not get my jab going this comp. But against the Turkish boy, I felt like the body punch, I was like, Matt Johnson's voice was in my head about how good a body punch is. So I was like, maybe they're back, and they were really there in the Series A. So I got 3 of them, and I think it might be the way to go. I think just body punch it all the way.
We need to get that in writing.
So it was great that you could make that switch up like mid-event and say, you know what, something that I usually go to is not feeling it so good today. So I'm going to switch it up, and it definitely paid off. And yeah, the GAC was back.
Pretty an emotional loss coming off of that, and thinking like, oh man, I was so close. I'm going all the way. And then, the Turkish guy was gassed from your fight as well. And then he moved on to Morocco. He just kept getting more and more gassed. I think did he spew in the second, in the Moroccan one, or did he spew in the Iranian one? Did you see that?
Oh, yes, no, against Chile. It was the one after yours, wasn't it, Daniel, that he
No, I
spewed?
think he spewed against the Iranian like with 3 seconds to
That's
go, and
right.
he still had to fight the Chilean.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was standing next to you, Nathan, and I looked at you and I went, "Oh, this is not looking good."
No,
He
no.
just chucked it up he just won against the Iranian. I was over the moon that he's got one more to repechage, and then he's spewing up all over the mat on the side, and Nathan just. No words, just looked at me like, yeah, look, I got nothing for you.
He looked pale as well. He looked so sickly, and we're just like, come on, man, just one more. Like, just do it. And, the Chilean Rodrigo Rojas is Premier League medalist.
Yeah.
Like, he's been on the circuit a long time.
He's there all the time.
Very
He's
experienced.
one of the leaders in the Chilean team, and there was a big team from Chile at this comp, and they all did very well. So yeah, definitely a hard matchup for Daniel to have in the bronze.
But it was wicked when the Turkish guy made it. We were cheering as loud as we would for Daniel, and then you came up against the Moroccan. Was he another young boy that was just electric? He had looked like he was extremely quick.
Yeah, he was really fast. When he came, there was some fear. There was like that moment of like, oh, the first time we engaged, you've probably felt it as well, Mitch, where you go, oh, that was quicker than I thought it was going to come in. And then you got to quickly adjust on the fly, like, oh, this is going to be one of those fights. But yeah, I think he was like early 20s. So it was another fight that fighting against, I call them young now, which I don't love that I'm calling a 22-year-old young, but another young fighter. And then, yeah, that was just 2-0. And those kicks coming late, I think about your Premier League fight, Mitch, for bronze medal.
Yeah.
When those Moroccans are throwing their legs, it's a scary, scary place to be.
Yeah, no, but you defended it really well. And then going into the Iranian, which was another tough one. He's one of, I've only seen him for the first time last year at the World Cup, but he's strong. And he was going through, I think he beat Yuta Mori from Japan. And I was like, whoa, that's going to be a tough one to face up for Daniel. And then he's like, oh, it's here in the repechage. And but you fought really well. You fought super strategic. You were patient. And yeah, I just thought it was a really, really good mental battle for that one, because you just knew they had to get through this one more to get for the bronze medal.
Yeah, I got that one by decision and kind of working the other way, the grabbing. And I think that's a big part of like karate is sometimes you may feel as though you get stiffed one, but you sometimes forget when you get a little bit lucky. Yeah, that decision was 3-1 my way. But again, he got grabbing with 11 seconds to go, lost his senchu. He was in the World Cup. I actually remember seeing him. And, you know, when you have that moment, you're like, oh, who did you fight from Australia? And I'm trying to remember. But, yeah, he hasn't been around for very long, like on the international circuit. But he started to, he's in the Asian Games team event, a little bit like the one you fought, Mitch. So, yeah, pretty experienced and had to be a little bit more patient than I usually like to be. I'm usually trying to go and push the fight, but he was just he held the distance so well, and I really felt like I'm fighting a very experienced fighter. How am I going to, work this one out? I'm going to have to take my time to build back after conceding the first point.
Yeah, he got the first point, and then what were you thinking when you were 1-0 down? How much time was still on the clock? What were you thinking in terms of getting it back?
There was still about 2 minutes left. Usually you hear your coach, and that's where you look to, but it's a bit of a weird moment and a better out-of-body experience. I actually just remember Georgie Lawrence and Robin yelling, "Throw your punches, trust your punches," because I tried a body kick and it just didn't work. And then I heard Iris Webb's voice going, "You've got heaps of time." And just those voices just stuck with me a little bit. I've traveled a little bit with them as well. Paris at the start of the year, Robin and Georgie were there. And it was just like, oh yeah, I do have heaps of time and I do need to trust my punches. And then I'm sure Mark said something along those lines, but I think I just remember that being in my head that, yeah, my punches have been working today and I do have that 2 minutes or whatever it is. So thanks, Georgie and Robin and Iris for yelling out really loud because your voice dominated my thought process then, which is a bit of an out-of-body experience in the way that, there was probably 50 people yelling out at the time, but just those three voices is probably what I needed to hear. And I kind of connected with that and went, okay, there's still heaps of time. Went back and scored another body punch, which I'm telling you, throw your body punches. And then we worked it out from there.
Definitely a little bit of credit there thrown their way. That's fantastic to see. And yeah, it was you did have so long, like a 3 minute fight is a long fight. And just because, one exchange goes the other person's way, that's like a fight philosophy thing. If you're better than the other person and you're going to beat the other person, then you just look for that next engagement and you just keep pushing until the score starts going your way, and that's what it did.
Mm-hmm. And then that elation of knowing that you're fighting for bronze, a long time between that fight to get into bronze, right? It was about an hour and a half, I suppose.
Yeah, I actually have no idea. I was in the warm-up area, and it's just like you're not looking at a watch or a clock. You're just kind of there. They move you from this warm-up area to another one, and then you're sitting there. They're like, "Oh, it'll be half an hour," and then half an hour goes by. They're like, "Oh, it'll be another half an hour." But yeah, it was a long break. I think I warmed up 3 or 4 times that day. For the original event, for then the rapid charge, and then I think for the bronze medal, so 3 times. And then, the third place. It was a great spectacle. I loved walking out to the lights and the classic WKF song. So
we need to change that, by the way. Can we put a petition to change that? Surely.
We just need a bit of variation, maybe a couple of tracks that get played. You don't know which one it's going to be. Yeah. How did you feel knowing that you were going up against such an experienced athlete in Rodrigo from Chile?
Yeah, been around for a long time. I've actually seen him fighting at the most recent Premier Leagues and things like that. So there was a little bit of the nervousness was there, but I think that's normal if you're fighting in a bronze medal match. Just staying calm and just going out there. Mark was really good and supportive, and all that was going through my head, he scored. I couldn't tell you how many body kicks I watched him score through the rounds, and all that was going through my head was watch the body kicks. Everyone who I'd spoken to said, watch his body kicks. And then sure enough, he did get a body kick in. it was only the one. But walking out there, it's a surreal experience. And it's something that I hold like very dear to me, how special it is to actually get to feel that pressure. Because pressure is like a huge privilege to get to go out there and perform. And then once you're out there, I don't remember a thing until afterwards.
God, until that moment where you realise that you'd taken it and it was just a lot of glee coursing through your body, that's for sure.
I think what was special as well is that you got the first point and then the body kick came and then you had to work from being down. Was it 1? It was 1-1 and then he scored a body kick, or what was the score?
2-1 and then he scored a body kick, which
right.
made it 3-2 with about 15 seconds to go or something along those lines.
Like that is massive determination and grit to get back to that the line with such little time to go, knowing that it's like, mate, if I don't score, I'm going to lose. That's wild.
I wish I could say I had a really amazing plan of like, I'm going to draw him in, get in the clinch and throw something, but I have no idea what happened. It was just like, I was just walking at him and trying to get something to happen, and scored from the clinch, which was, really lucky. And the crowd, when I hit like through the punch in the clinch, the Australian crowd like erupted, and I don't know if it changed it, but those buzzers came in. So I do give some credit there for sure.
It was probably one of the best punches I've seen you throw. It was epic. There was no influence there from us. It was all you, mate. It was wicked. I think some people were crying in the stands. Just the support. I think everyone felt like that they'd won the medal. That's just how much of investment that this crowd has and the support has for each athlete. And it's just an amazing moment for karate in Australia, I think.
And you saw that coming from back home as well. There were a lot of people posting about you, a lot of reshares of your posts. So it was great to see that support. And I think all of Australia felt like it won a medal with you, Daniel. It's just great to see. And hopefully it can be replicated later this year.
Yeah. Only 6-7 weeks away?
It's getting close.
6-7. After watching a couple of athletes at the World Championships as well, they were really strong. All the people going to the World Championships, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Hell yeah, awesome.
So good. Dan, we spoke a little bit about our age, and we make fun of it a lot, but it's actually a very silly joke. Should be our prime years of our career. It's just hard when we're coming from Australia and life and work and uni. Things pop up and it just makes it very hard to get to this stage. But having such a big break between international medals, it was 13 years. What does that sort of jog your what does that put your mind at when you think of that and realize how long it was since, we've been traveling for a long time, and you're sort of you feel like you're doing the right things, and you're fighting and you're winning and you're making mistakes, and you just, it's such a long process. What does that sort of draw your mind to when you think about how long it's been since you performed and gotten the medal on the stage?
Yeah, I think it's something I'm pretty passionate about in Australian karate is that I'm 20. I was 27 technically when I won the medal, but I'm 28 now. But in saying that, there's not many, in the Australian team that went to Oceania for the seniors. I think there was one person older than me, and the rest are younger. It's something that Australian karate is really lacking in, is that you kind of don't get success in like when you're in your 20s, early 20s. And Mitch and I traveled a lot when we were 21, 22. And you don't get success because it's actually a really difficult thing to actually fight overseas and fight these experienced fighters, because they are usually 25 or over and they've been traveling and they've got their experience in. And then we kind of just all retire at a really young age. And you think about and there's not many sports where you're better at 23 than you are going to be at 27. And I'm like, I really believe that there's a couple athletes who are quite young who are like, oh, I don't know if I can balance work and karate. But you are going to get better. I don't know about you, Mitch, but this has been my best last 2 years of my life, from 26 to 28. I've never felt stronger. I've never felt faster. I now know what works for me in the gym, in the dojo. I feel like confident in everything. I don't line up like I did when I was 22 with fear. I line up like I can do this. I've had some experience. I know how good I am. But yeah, just that persistence is so key to by the time I'm 27 and 28, I will be where I need to be. Some people get there really quick. Like you have your international fighters, they're all over there and you see them, they're like 21 and, Stephen DaCosta's a big one, winning like all through. But as an athlete, you're going to be better at 27 than you were at 21, 19. So it's something that I think you can speak to as well, Mitch, that if you stick around, you're going to keep getting better and putting in the hours.
Yeah, you end up figuring it out, and you figure out what works for you and what doesn't. I think there's a big part of our mental blockages that we get when we're overseas when we're very young, like you touched on, lining up with fear. I remember the first few Premier Leagues that we did, I didn't throw a technique because I was just so afraid of getting scored on and losing. Lost anyway, but it's like that takes a long time to get over that hump. Well, for me personally anyway. But some kids, they just go out there and they have the confidence, but maybe it's just, it's the game itself of kumite specifically, not kata. The game itself is a hard game. And when you have people that are competing in those later ages, so those late 20s, they just know the game. They know what works for them. They know the tactics. And a lot of the time when you go out there as a young kid, you're just like a bit sort of taken back by the whole thing. You've got all this energy and you're just like, you think you're doing the right thing, but it takes time to settle into it. So I think that's a big part of just settling into it and just trusting the process. It sounds so cliche, but it is true. Just trust the process and just go along with it.
I've been to, heaps of Premier Leagues along the way and some Series A, won 2 rounds, lost first rounds. It just takes time. It sucks. You might see some success, but to see a big successful event, you're going to have to lose probably before you win. And then just staying consistent with it. The rise in Australia, you become in the part of the national team, and you can become a bronze medal at a nationals quite young. But to win an international medal, you're going to have to go through some real ups and downs, because you're fighting some really strong athletes who, for a lot of them, it's their full-time job. That is what they're doing. So you're going to have to find something that works for you. But yeah, everyone will be able to get there if they just stick around to this ripe old age of 28. I think it's when you start to feel better. And that's not to say that you're going to be the best you've been at 28. Progression is not linear. So some people might get to 25 and that's their peak, but you've just got to stick around. You're not going to get better each year. I think that's another thing that we I didn't win. I won last year and now I'm not winning as much, so it's better I give it up. I can think of times, where I've 2022, I didn't win Aussie Open. I got third and was kind of, didn't win Oceania, and I was thought, I'm not as good as I'm used to be. So I might as well pack it up and go home at 24. But then you got to try to stick around and realize how much better you're going to get.
How did you go through that with that stage? What did you talk to your family? What was that process like? Or did you just sort of all deal with it on your own?
Yeah, I wish I could say I had a really enlightening experience, but I actually missed nationals because of COVID in 2022, which gave me like a really big off season. Sat down with my coach and went, what do we need to do? How can we get better? Watching your fights is so powerful, and it's hard to watch when you lose because you want to see yourself win. But watching your fights, having a look at not being too critical on yourself. What are some few moments that went wrong? Because usually in a karate match, there's 2 moments. If you fix them up, you're going to win. So, I had a bit of a break and a bit of a step back after, I thought I was going to nationals. But then after that, I had COVID and really had a look at where I want to be going forward. So I didn't have a big, huge, this is what I'm going to do. I did take my focus away from winning. I didn't want to just go, I want to win a medal. That's why I'm doing karate. It started to shift, and I don't know if it's a maturity thing, but I just went, okay, I just want to get better and see where that takes me. I'm not worried about the medal. I'm not worried about my results in the year because it doesn't actually bring me happiness. It's actually just getting better at karate. Yeah.
I think that's a mindset you need to have as just a martial artist. And I agree, a lot of athletes see this as it should be a short career to success. But in reality, it's a long one. You should be, I agree, peaking at that sort of, 27, 28 sort of age. And a lot of athletes are stopping before that because, they either can't maintain it or they thought they were going to find success earlier. But it is just proof in the pudding that you guys are at your prime at this age. And we need to do more to push athletes to keep going with it and keep sticking with it. And I feel like probably your journeys have been long as well because you've been doing it yourself a lot of the time. And that's taxing to do. But imagine if you had this sort of event regularly throughout your career. I feel like the development comes a lot faster than doing it on your own. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, 2019 when we travelled, Daniel, you and I, that was a long year. And I think we got sick so many times. And at the end of the year, we were just like, I think the statistic that I remember was I remember being in outside of Perth more days than I was inside of Perth that year, whether it was in Melbourne or internationally. And I was just like, I can't sustain this. But it was what we had to do at that stage. I didn't even know how it came about, but we sort of just, I don't know if we had a discussion, but there was a bit of all right, we're chasing the points. We're going to go for the qualification event. We're going to just help each other out and push each other, and whoever sort of has the points at the end of the day deserves to go because that was but we're not going to get better if we're just fighting each other for it. We're going to help each other out, and we went everywhere, man. We did so many Premier Leagues, trained in Kazakhstan, and did it all on our own, and that just drained us so much. And then at the end of the year, I remember when we finished off that Premier League in Russia, and you and I both was just like, I'm done. We're just done. And that lifestyle is, first of all, financially not sustainable, and mentally nowhere near sustainable to do that all on your own. Because how much were we just planning ourselves? Well, I was more sort of the itinerary manager at that stage. I don't know about you, Daniel, but so taxing.
Yeah, I think, look, and that's part of the persistence thing. We went and tried that and we realised that's too long. You were the itinerary manager. I'd get messages like, we're going here this date. Thanks, Mitch. Yep, I'll book it. And then I'd get a reminder text message, have you booked it? Which I wouldn't have. So we just went back and forth about, Mitch was almost like my a manager and travel partner. But we realised that it didn't work for us travelling. Kazakhstan was the best training, actually environment. We were training 12, 13 sessions with Premier League fighters, but we were just out of home. We were the only really people who spoke English there. And it was just too much. And now we've worked out, Mitch came down for the Kaizen. We did a training camp the week before, which I'm sure you've mentioned on the podcast when Max was on as well. That training camp, and there was a couple of under 21 boys from Victoria who came. And that was such a good lead up. I felt like I could go home, sleep in my own bed. The depth in Australia is good enough that you don't need to go to Kazakhstan and Italy, and it's good every now and then, but there's enough really strong athletes here where you just need some time and maybe drive that extra 40 minutes and go get the training with some of the really strong athletes who showed out at Series A.
Yeah, and the thing that needs to be in an athlete's mind going to these sort of big competitions is like you walk in and you compete, and that's all you need to worry about. And it's not the situation that you guys went through in the start of your career, having to manage everything. It's even as simple as like registration. It can be it can be a stressful thing.
Oh, bro, the amount of times we've missed registration. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and that can impact your performance at the tournament, and it's a thing that shouldn't be the stress of an athlete. And I feel like it's made it very hard throughout so many years. But now, when we do have this sort of infrastructure that we could have more regularly for the future, I mean, this Series A in Malaysia, it was amazing to have Ash Dickinson and Muzaffar there as well, really helping the team. We had they organised a travel agency company that a lot of people could book their flights through, accommodation, shuttle to and from. I don't know how much you guys did apart from weigh in at registration.
Literally just like stood around, waited. Actually, we had to help with the scales. They had botched the scales, but we just rocked up and we got given our registration card and go to weigh in. Like, it took some time, but we didn't have to do. We were just sitting around chatting, and hanging out, which is the best. It's so good because lining up, trying to go to that, the registration process is just such a shit show, really.
Yeah. So if I'm like putting things that, we've just said in the last 5 minutes together, if I'm a young athlete around like 20 years old, I'm looking for the future, and there's so much support that we currently have and something that could be implemented at so many more tournaments going in the foreseeable future, that it's like, it's not going to be it might not be a slog, to have to do all of this on your own. You can be going to international events with 31 other Aussies that are there supporting you, that are there like after you inevitably lose, that there will be some reflection and some positives that come out of that, and that will help you along your career. So I think we're at a much better spot now than we were 7 years ago.
Yeah, no, I think a very common thing to touch on as well is that I feel like a lot of people now are very hard on themselves when they lose. And we all are, you know what I mean? And it's because it's what makes us competitive. But like, just for example, young Tom Kearns, he's 20 years old, 19, I think, something like that.
19, I think, yeah.
And I was like, dude, you are so talented and so fast, and you can see that he's going to have a good progression as an athlete. You sometimes just got to take this loss as a learning and move on and take the things that you can work on. But if you dwell on it, you're never going to move past it, And so seeing him, hopefully he can, and not just him, but people in that sort of age group can just move from those losses and straight away get back onto like what's next.
Yeah, and for Tom to have that support around him, that's something that you didn't have when you lost at your first Premier League.
Oh, I had a little bit. There was obviously people there, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, but not.
I didn't give you any support.
We were both crying in the back. No, but like, yeah, there's not a team of 50 there to wrap your arms around you, and I think that's super valuable to have. Yeah, Daniel, just have a little moment now just to talk about, I don't know, what it actually means for you to get this win, and what's sort of next. We've got the World Championships coming up in the end of this the year. Obviously, this is not like, yeah, I've done it, because it's like, obviously we want more. But I just wanted you to just touch on like how much this actually means, going through your history and your experiences throughout the international stage and the ups and downs, and I don't know, just talk about this moment for yourself.
Yeah, it felt really good. I think people always, as we've spoken about, like, oh yeah, but I was lucky. I actually am just like really happy. I think Mitch and I, we were at the national camp at the start of the year, and I was like, one of the only things I haven't done, one of the things I want to do is I want to win an international medal at a karate league competition. And I think talking about it made it feel a little bit more real. So I was pretty happy. I always wanted to do it for a long period of time. When I was traveling in my early 20s, I thought it was even a little bit out of reach, even though I was competing in those events. So to actually achieve it, there was a moment where I went, I'm actually just happy. Like I just feel like a sense of happiness. And then I landed in Melbourne and then went to training on Wednesday night because I have world championships in 50 days, so, whatever it is. So there is that, you get a day or you get, I was lucky to be on day one. So I got maybe 2 or 3 days and then it's like, okay, next one. But I love that process. Like now training for the world championships, I'm looking forward to, following those same processes and just going out there. And I'm actually just excited for the Australian team to do it because the level is getting really high, and to be part of those training camps and, national training camp coming up in a couple of weeks is going to be really good to prep and get ready. So there is a little bit of celebration and then straight away your mind just goes to the next one. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
Daniel, we forgot to actually mention this. We really want to see this medal, and I'm sure everyone would love it. Do you have the medal with you?
Yeah, I do.
Come on.
Because you've asked me to bring it, so I brought it. I don't want to look like I just sat here with it waiting for you to ask me.
I thought you were going to wear it, to be honest, at the start of the episode.
I wasn't going to wear it, but I have it here. It's pretty big, I think. Yeah, it's actually really cool. I love it. But yeah, the big Series A at the front is really nice.
Go on, chuck it on.
No. I put it on once, that's enough.
Come on.
I did a big show and tell for my kids. I can't do it on the podcast. That's just too much.
That's good.
So for recent years, you've had that goal of medaling at an international comp. Is there a new goal? Have you got to that stage of thinking about it, or is it just focus on the Worlds?
I would lie. I've been wanting to be a world champion since I was like 15 years old. So like, it's not like it's just you just move on to the next goal. And that's not saying if I don't achieve that goal, I'm a failure, but I want to achieve that. And now I've spoken it out loud and hopefully it helps along the way. But yeah, I think it's just the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So yeah, there's always little goals along the way that help you become where you want to get to.
That's awesome.
So good. And yeah, we get to catch up again so soon at the World Championship training camp, which is in like 2 weeks.
Is it 2 weeks?
Crazy. Wow. I'm very excited for it. Yeah, Daniel, one last thing just to, if you wanted to have some parting words. I know you've spent some pretty good words of wisdom already, but just to the karate community, anything you'd like to say on your behalf?
Yeah, not too much. I do think hopefully that resonates the persistence thing I said, that if you stick around and you continue to find what works for you, you're going to find some success along the way and you'll find some real happiness from it. So no, thank you so much for having me. And I love what you guys are doing on the pod and with the training camps and everything. So thank you.
Thanks very much, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel. We'll see you very soon.
Thanks, mate.
Incredible to see Australia find this success on the international stage, and I hazard to guess that it's only it's not even the start. Like no. We've been doing it for a number of years now, but it's just another little bit of momentum.
It truly is stepping stones for sure, and Australia's been building for a while now, and I think what I hope for this moment for Australia is people realise that it is possible. And yes, you got to think that it's possible and you say, I believe I'm going to be the best ever. But like when you see it happen and you can witness someone getting that medal, and especially firsthand, you see it, you say, I've watched Daniel fight at Australian Open. Oh, he's just done it. He's just got a medal at the Series A. Like I think I can do it. And it just gives another little bit of level of belief for people internally. And then it just spreads and... Oh, yeah. Man, I've got goosebumps just talking about it.
Yeah, and it's not even just like one person can do it, Our trophy cabinet's starting to build up. Mm-hmm. Like 2022 in Jakarta, we had the silver and the bronze from Hannah Sullivan and Mandy Yap. Mm-hmm. And then yourself with the Premier League bronze, and now Daniel with the Series A bronze. Mm-hmm. It's really starting to build up. It's starting to be more obvious that a lot of people in Australia can achieve this feat.
And also not to mention the Junior World Championships last year.
Yes, yeah, true.
Yeah, with Emily and Iris competing in the bronze medal matches. Mm-hmm. I just think that in itself, you go, wow, like these peers that I look at and talk to and see, they're there. And it's I just think that extra belief going into the World Championships next year and then the junior comps next year. Did I say that right? Yeah. It's going to be so good. And I'm very excited for this World Championships coming up.
Yeah, so we just mentioned that we've got the training camp coming up for the Senior Worlds. Walk us through that. It's just going to be a couple of days.
Yeah, so we get in on the Friday. I think I actually need to book my flight, which is bad.
2 weeks from
I
now.
know, it's not usually like me. It's wild.
Always like you.
Nah, I'm pretty good with booking, usually. No, but yeah, we've got to fly in on the Friday morning.
Yep.
And then it's like all day Friday, all day Saturday, most of the day Sunday.
Oh, wow, 3 days.
Yeah. It should be good. It'll be really good to like just reflect from the Malaysian comp. Obviously, we did a bit of reflection afterwards, but their emotions are going crazy and stuff. So a bit of time to reflect on performances. Obviously, Daniel can reflect on his performance and what he needs to do better because he didn't do good enough.
Definitely not.
But no, just one more piece of like connection before we go away. I think that's a really big part of our team and how we bond together as a group. The connection that we had in Malaysia, it was so good. And I think if we can carry that through, if we can, we'll make sure that we carry it through to Cairo because it helps so much.
It's an amazing timing thing. It's like Kaizen Culture training camp the week before Malaysia, a week break, and then Malaysia, Series A in Malaysia, and then 2 weeks break, the camp, and then I think it's about 2 weeks until the World Championship. So that, what's that, 3 touch points before the World Championships that's made available for the best athletes in Australia. That's super valuable.
Yep, absolutely. And there was a listener comment and question.
Yeah. Yeah, I sort of reached out for it, but
nice.
Yeah, I was talking to Ash, and I mentioned before that Ash and Muzaffar did an amazing job coordinating organisation of this unofficial tour because there were so many Australians participating in it. A big shout out to H4U Travel was the agency that they went through and hooked us up with the accommodation and a shuttle to and from, and they were amazing. Like it's a hard thing for a travel agent to do because we don't know when we're going from the event.
Yeah.
Like we don't know if we're getting through to a medal match. It's very it can go a million different ways, and even as down to we got food delivered to the tournament each day of the tournament because we were in a country that we're not used to that sort of food, so it's just a bit of a safe option to protect athletes. And it's like imagine if you're on Friday, or you're competing on Sunday and you're eating on Friday that makes you sick. It's like, it's the small things that add up.
Absolutely.
So H4,
actually, not to mention as well, H4U Travel, they helped Laura Golding when she got the cut on her eye.
Right.
And myself, they took us to the hospital.
Wow.
And to the clinics that like were the right ones to go to, or just maybe not the right ones to go to, but just where we needed to go. Don't need to think about like, oh my gosh, I need to go to a clinic, and you don't know if it's a sketchy one down a back alley or whatever. So you had a local there helping you out. It was so good. This person, I think it's Nizam from H4U Travel, drove me around for like 3 hours. He just took 3 hours of his day to drive me to the hospital and stuff. So it was crazy.
That is above and beyond.
Yeah,
and it's
awesome.
And they're an international company, so we could see them. We hope to see them again for the future for these sort of tours.
Absolutely.
If I as an athlete can just be like, I want to participate in this event, and I get a bill for shuttle, flights, accommodation, food at the event, that's like a dream scenario, and it's a competitive price. I think that's the big thing. A lot of the tours that have been organised in the past have been quite on the pricier side, and you've chosen to go, well, I'm just going to book it myself because I'm going to save like $2,000, which is a lot of money for us, So, amazing service they provided. Thank you to Muzaffar and Ash who organised that. And Ash had just a comment. She said that I had 3 athletes from different countries, Brazil, Italy and Iran, comment to me how great it was seeing all of us get up as a group to go and cheer on an Aussie on a tatami. So I think that was like, you saw in the stands, it was like 50 odd people. And everybody walked to a different tatami to support somebody else. So and Daniel touched on that as well, how great it was to have that support in the crowd. So it's something that we want to see more of.
Absolutely. All right. Pretty happy to end it there. Nath, this was a great episode. Love chatting to Daniel and reflecting on the Series A in Malaysia. Hopefully we can have more episodes like this coming into next year. This is the last Series A event for the year. Yes, it is, yep. And now we're just shifting our focus to the last event of the year, being the World Championships. There is the Venice Youth League after that. We do have a couple of Aussies competing at that, which is great. But
big spotlight on this World Championships once every 2 years in Cairo. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We'll gas up all the Aussies on the next episode.
Yeah,
or
before the
few,
training camp,
for
something
sure.
like that.
All right, as always, please let us know your thoughts and opinions, feedback, anything you'd like us to talk about. After all, we're an organisation for you. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk about the things that we are super passionate about and bring them to you. Once again, head over to the WKF YouTube channel to check out the World Karate Cast. That will be coming out on every off week as opposed to this one here. Thanks, Nate. This has been a good one.
Cheers, mate.